In this video, I'll show you how you can draw this bulb from scratch as an absolute beginner. So let's get started. Step number one is outline the sphere of the bulb. Firstly, I'm simply going to draw a large circle with the help of a masking tape at the center of the paper. This circle will represent the globe of the light bulb. Step number two is draw guidelines. Now I'm drawing the basic guidelines for the filaments and tilt of the bulb on the left side of the bulb circle. Then, with the help of an eraser, I'll go ahead and lighten the sketch before adding the further details. Along with that, I'm now constructing a shape to lay the foundation of the cap at the end of the light bulb. Although this cap is quite rounded, so I'm using a sphere as the base for the bulb cap at the end of the tilt lines. After that, I'll be going to round this off to define the shape of the bulb cap. Step number three is drawing the filament stem. Now I'm going in with the mechanical pencil 2.0 mm for the filaments within the light bulb. So I'm drawing a few fine lines within the larger stem that extends from the cap sphere and up into the bulb circle, followed by the reference image. So these lines will represent the light bulb fuse, also known as the exhaust tube. Then I'll be using the tissue paper to smudge it, and then I'll go ahead with the Tombow Mono Zero eraser to pull up the highlights. Then again, I'll go ahead with the mechanical pencil to redraw the lines where needed. Step number four is creating the cap outlines. Now I'm gonna go down to the cap area and add the ridges of the screw thread. Around the edge of the cap, you can create ridges to represent the screw thread. At the bottom of the cap, draw a small rounded hump to represent the electrical contact. Step number five is shading. Light bulbs typically don't have any color. So the first thing that I'm gonna do here is add the precise highlights with the help of a Tombow Mono Zero eraser, which will help you to pull up the graphite from the paper to make it look narrated and super realistic. So I am using here the eraser everywhere wherever I found the highlighted areas followed by the reference image. So within the bulb, add a few small spots of the highlights on either side of the filament and within the larger stem. So make sure that you follow your reference image for this purpose. Now I'm gonna go in with the darker pencil. So here I'm using the 4B grade around the highlighted areas or any shadowed areas, and then I will blend it out with the blending stump to get the subtle shading. When using black to create shading, always remember that less is more. You can always add more shading, but it is all impossible to remove black once it has applied. So make sure that you do your pencil pressure really light when applying the dark shade. So here I'm going to block in the shading in layers and blend it out with the blending stump. Now moving back to the filaments and add some more dark layers to it to add the depth on it and not to make it look flat and unreal. So after adding the layers, now I'm adjusting the darks and lights to get the shading done. You see, I'm using the black color pencil for the darkest areas that I cannot achieve with the graphite. So I'm here glazing it over the graphite on all over the dark areas. Then I'll go ahead with the 6B pencil to shade the rest of the areas followed by the reference image. So here I'm actually adding the overlay textured shading to get the realism in my bulb drawing. After that, I'm using the Tombow Mono Zero Eraser to erase the excessive graphite and even out the shading. Alright, now it's time to add the bright highlights using the Jelly Roll pen in the filament and the area within the bulb just to enhance it a bit more. Okay, now I'm also adding the highlights in the ridges of the screw thread just in a way that it shows its metallic narrated look. Then I'll go ahead and do some adjustment of the shadows and highlights, just making sure that everything is subtle and well blended. Lastly, I'm going in with the lighter pencil to add the shadow underneath the bulb and blend it out with the tissue paper, showing its 3D visual on the paper. So yeah, this is it for today's tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed it a bit more than my other tutorials. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.